5th of Heartfire, 433, the Third Era. This will be the first journal I'll be writing in since leaving Alinor. I hope my parents are doing well with the rise of the new Aldemeri Dominion. It has occurred to me that Cyrodiil is rather a different kind of land compared to Alinor. Elven architecture is still very much prevalent, and Ayleid ruins are still here, which is fitting for my area of work. But at the heart and soul of Cyrodiilic culture is its people. They are rather a strange type of people to me. I must iterate that Cyrodiil is the first province I've ever set foot in aside from Alinor. In Anvil, I joined the Mages Guild. It seems that there was a set of tasks, or task recommendations, that one must complete to join. However, because of my extensive research into the Ayleids, they let me off, and I joined accordingly. From my journey from Anvil to Skingrad, I ran into a few bandits who wanted to rob me. Well, I can safely say that they burned as I hurled a good fireball at them. And a few wolves tried to kill me as well, and normally I would leave them be, but desperate times and measures require desperate needs and all. I'm sure the Imperial Legion would agree with me. While in Skingrad, I met a rather peculiar man named Glarthir, and suffice to say, at first, I thought him to be a madman, tasking me with meeting him behind the chapel at midnight, and spying on Bernadette Pennels and Tutius Sextius, all of whom were not spying on Glarthir. After a few visits to him and gaining a hefty sum of coin, which he seemed to be loaded with, he then asked me to spy on a man named David Surel. He thinks he's the ringleader of a conspiracy against him. As I actually spoke to him in actuality, he seemed reluctant at first, but he opened up to me after a good conversation and a tiny little bribe. David then told me that he wasn't so much as spying, but he certainly had a bit of a grudge against Glarthir, calling him a bit of a nutcase, and that he doesn't much like him. Glarthir was more than delighted to hear that I sorta lied a little about David. In all things considered, I rather didn't like the man either. But it still doesn't excuse the fact that what Glarthir told me to do next wasn't such a good idea to follow through with. He slipped me a note saying that David needed to be killed, and that he rewarded me handsomely. I'm generally quite a patient man when it comes to people asking me to do lucrative stuff, but to ask me to murder someone simply because you don't like them seemed too far-fetched for me, and I immediately reported him to the City Watch. Poor Glarthir. The guards said that they would arrest him, but instead they just butchered him behind the chapel. I felt so bad, as I thought it best to search his house, thinking I may have missed something, and that I may have prevented his death. What I found next was nothing short of a miracle. I found his notes on his desk, and in reading them, I saw it all at first as the ramblings of a crazy old man. I then, however, found out that he knew about the Emperor's secret bodyguards, the Blades, and also he suspected that the fabled mythic Dawn Assassins was out to get him. Was I a fool? Did I just read his expressions wrong? I feel, or at least I think, Glarthir was only acting as a madman, and is in actuality an Imperial spy, employed to spy on those who wouldn't have the Empire's best interests at heart. Now I feel horrible that he is no longer, and unfortunately no longer with us.